Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be making Caldo Xochitl. This is basically a light chicken broth soup that you add shredded chicken, vegetables, and lime at the end. It's so delicious and easy to make. Recently, we had a family outing to my son's Korean school fall festival, and there is where we met a subscriber and fan of Gochujang Mamá, or simply Mamá Cooks, and we definitely enjoyed the day. We had a nice family outing. So upon meeting my subscriber, I asked him, is there anything specifically that you would like to make? And he requested Caldo Xochitl because he lived in Mexico and he remembers having this simple yet delicious chicken soup. So if you are watching, thank you. It was so wonderful to meet you. And here's how I make this delicious soup. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to be using around 3.5 quarts of water. And to that, I'm going to be adding some green onion. I'm going to add that right to the pot. I'm going to add 1 stick of celery, 1 small carrot. I'm going to add 1 dried bay leaf and several cloves of fresh garlic. I'm also going to add 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And I'm going to also add 2 pounds of chicken breast. I removed the skin, but this is bone-in. This is bone-in skinless chicken breast. It's 2 pounds, and I'm going to add it right into the pot. Then I'm going to bring it up to a gentle boil. And if any foam collects at the surface, I'm just going to scoop that out. And I'm going to continue cooking the chicken breast for about 25 minutes or so until it's done. And you want to make sure it's not at a hard boil. Just keep it at a gentle simmering boil to cook it. It'll definitely yield a more tender chicken breast. Once I'm done skimming off the top of the surface of my broth, I'm going to cover it with a lid and continue cooking until done. So now that my chicken breast is cooked, I'm going to remove it from the broth and I'm going to set it aside just to let it rest before I shred or chop it. But once I remove it from the broth, I'm going to let the broth continue to simmer with the vegetables and the bay leaf in it. I'm going to let it continue simmering for about another 15 minutes. I just want the broth to be flavorful. Now the broth in this soup is supposed to be light, but it should be flavorful. So you can definitely add any aromatics, seasonings, and spices that you would like to the broth. So in the meantime, once my chicken breast has rested for about 10 to 15 minutes, I'm going to remove the bone and just take the chicken off of the bone. And you can chop it into chunks, you can shred it with your hands, it's definitely up to you. Okay, so at this point my broth is done. I've removed all the aromatics and vegetables, and don't discard the carrot. I will use the carrot, but my broth is just on a low simmer. So now I'm going to work on the rest of the ingredients. So first I'm going to saute 1 Mexican squash that I've cut into cubes. And I'm also going to be using fresh tomato. I'm not going to saute the tomato, I just diced it. I removed the seeds and diced it. But first, let me saute this zucchini just to give it a head start. You could actually also put these ingredients right into your broth, but I'm going to go the extra mile and show you a different way to serve this, and it looks really nice when you're just trying to make it look visually appealing. But honestly, put it all together in the broth and it works. Okay, so I added a little bit of salt. I added a ladleful of the broth just to expedite the zucchini to cook it a little bit. Once my zucchini is done, I'm going to set it aside, and I'm also using a 15-ounce can of chickpeas or garbanzo beans, and you'll want to make sure you remove the skin or the husk from the garbanzo bean if it's still there. For the most part, canned chickpeas are pretty clean, so those are already cooked. I am now ready to put a bowl of this Caldo Xochitl together. So my broth has been gently simmering, so here's my bowl. Rice in the center, some of the chicken, I diced the carrot, the chickpeas, the cooked zucchini, and fresh tomato. So now you'll want to ladle that delicious chicken broth right on top. And this is perfect with fresh avocado, cilantro, some diced onion. And if you like spice, you can definitely add your fresh jalapeno or sliced serrano peppers. It's up to you. Now, I also want to show you, if you don't want to serve it this way, you can add it right into the broth. I'm going to add my tomato, zucchini, and chickpeas. And you could also add some of that fresh diced onion, or you can just add the chicken and carrot and top it with the fresh ingredients as you serve. It's all up to you, and it's still just as delicious. So I definitely hope you guys give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.